You won't believe the real reason why Ibrahim Traore decided to cut ties with the French company Meridian at the international airport in Ouagadougou. Welcome to our segment on African politics and international business. Today, we're digging deep into an economic and political earthquake in Burkina Faso that sent shockwaves to France and French companies that have long exploited Africa with a direct message that things have got to change. In a stunning move that's reshaping corporate affairs and international relations, Captain Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso's president, has canceled a major government contract with a French company called Meridian for the new Ouagadougou International Airport. But what's really behind this decision? Is it a step towards economic development or a corruption scandal exposed? We will give you the details in this video. Burkina Faso, a landlocked country in West Africa, has been grappling with political issues, insecurity, and economic challenges. One major problem that Burkina Faso have been battling with is how to derive the rightful benefits from their mineral resources and other economic activities which are being exploited by foreign companies. However, Burkinabe past leaders after Thomas Sankara seemed not to be able to break loose from the stranglehold of their country from the likes of French and Anglo-Saxon countries and their economies. Something needed to change. In September 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traore seized power in a coup, becoming the world's youngest leader at just 34 years old. Since then, he's been making waves with his anti-colonial stance and bold policy decisions that are reversing the disadvantageous old rules of business that cheated Burkina Faso to new rules that are more beneficial and equitable to the country. That's how the French company Meridian became one of the first casualties of the positive change that President Ibrahim Traore represent. But why is an airport deal causing such a stir in African business circles? To understand this, we need to look at the background of the Ouagadougou-Donson Airport project. Burkina Faso's current main airport, Ouagadougou-Tamsé, was built in the 1960s. With passenger traffic growing by an average of 7% annually over the past decade, the need for a new, modern airport became critical for the country's development. The Ouagadougou-Tamsé International Airport handles about 98% of Burkina Faso's scheduled commercial air traffic. The airport saw a steady increase in passenger traffic, with approximately 726 passengers in 2011, growing to 527,024 by 2014. Projections estimate the airport will handle around 850,000 passengers by 2025. As of 2007, it was the 15th busiest airport in West Africa in passenger volume. However, the current airport has outgrown its capacity constraints, which is one of the reasons for planning a new airport. The original Ouagadougou-Tamsé Airport in Burkina Faso had a capacity designed to handle about 400,000 passengers annually. Before we continue, just a gentle reminder to like and share our videos. Also, subscribe if you haven't done to stay informed on the latest African economic, political, and social developments, and explore how global geopolitics impact the continent. The Ouagadougou-Donson Airport project was conceived as a solution to this problem. So what is the cost of this new airport, the project timeline, and the financing? Let's first deal with these questions before getting to why the controversial deal with the French company was terminated by President Traore. The Ouagadougou-Donson Airport project is a significant infrastructure initiative designed to replace the existing Ouagadougou-Tamsé Airport. This new airport, situated approximately 35 kilometers northeast of Ouagadougou, near the village of Donson, aims to address capacity constraints and improve the safety and efficiency of air travel in Burkina Faso. The new airport will feature state-of-the-art facilities that meet international standards. Key components of the project include a 3.5-kilometer runway, which is extendable to 4 kilometers, capable of accommodating large, heavily loaded aircraft. The terminal, spanning 17,000 square meters, will initially handle up to 1 million passengers annually, with plans for future expansions that will double its capacity and include additional amenities. In line with modern sustainability practices, the airport will incorporate a solar power plant that will supply 80% of its electricity needs. Additionally, the use of low-carbon concrete during construction will minimize the environmental impact. The total cost of the Ouagadougou-Donson Airport project is estimated at around 420 million euros. Financing for this substantial investment comes from a variety of international partners and organizations, including a significant loan from the World Bank. This diversified financing plan ensures the project's sustainability and economic viability. The project is being executed in multiple phases. Phase 1 focuses on constructing the essential infrastructure required to transition operations from the old airport to Donson. This phase, which includes the construction of the runway, terminal, and necessary support facilities, was initially planned for completion by 2018, but has been extended to April 2024. While the Phase 2, scheduled from 2026 to 2030, is designed to accommodate future increases in demand and will include further expansions, such as a potential second runway and extended terminal facilities. The airport is expected to significantly boost the local economy by creating approximately 5,000 direct and indirect jobs during and after construction. The enhanced infrastructure will improve Burkina Faso's connectivity, facilitating increased trade, tourism, and investment opportunities. The Ouagadougou-Donson Airport is a critical component of Burkina Faso's strategic plan to modernize its transportation infrastructure and support economic growth. It aims to provide a safer, more efficient alternative to the existing airport, which is constrained by its proximity to the city center and limited capacity. It promised to be a game changer for Burkina Faso's economy and connectivity. But here's where things get interesting. In October 2021, under the previous government of Marc Christian Kabore, a deal was struck with French company Meridian AM. The contract, worth a staggering 220 million euros, granted Meridian a 30-year concession to design, build, finance, operate, and maintain the new airport. I guess you heard it. The French company will literally own the airport for 30 years. Now it gets even more complicated. This brings us to the French connection. Meridian partnered with Marseille Provence Airport as a technical partner, with Marseille Provence Airport set to be a minority shareholder in the project's special purpose vehicle. The French really knows how to take care of themselves and their interest when it comes to dealing with African countries. The deal seemed set in stone. So, what changed? The answer lies in Burkina Faso's recent political history. In a span of just 8 months, the country saw 3 different leaders. Kabore was ousted in January 2022 by Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, who was then himself removed by Ibrahim Traore in September of the same year. Under Traore's leadership, Burkina Faso's relationship with France, its former colonial power, has dramatically shifted. One of the victims of this shift in relationship is the cancellation of the airport contract with the French company Meridian, which was highly skewed in favor of the French company. But is this airport deal cancellation merely a reflection of changing political tides, or is there more to the story? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the reasons behind this shocking decision and its implications for government corruption, economic development, and the future of Burkina Faso and West African politics. Now that President Ibrahim Traore has officially terminated the government contract with French company Meridian for the management of the new Ouagadougou International Airport, the question remains. But what's really behind this termination? Is this a case of government corruption exposed, or a bold move towards economic development and sovereignty? Let's break down the cancellation decision. The Burkinabe government cited 3 main reasons for this shocking move: a problematic taxation regime that raised eyebrows in the corridors of power. An exaggerated 30-year concession period that many viewed as excessive. Discrepancies between the contract provisions and both domestic and international legal standards. Explaining further, the government frowned at the deal, including tax provisions that were seen as overly favorable to Meridian AM that potentially deprived Burkina Faso of crucial revenue. You see, in the context of a major infrastructure project, taxation is a sensitive issue as it directly impacts the long-term economic benefits for the host country. A taxation regime perceived as unfair could be seen as compromising national economic interests and sovereignty, and President Traore have promised to do everything that is required to safeguard the interest of Burkina Faso. Secondly, the president views the 30-year concession period as excessive, potentially locking Burkina Faso into an unfavorable arrangement for an extended period. Long concessions can limit a government's flexibility to adapt to changing circumstances or renegotiate terms. In rapidly evolving economies, especially in developing countries like Burkina Faso, such lengthy commitments can become burdensome and hinder future development opportunities. Again, the contract provisions apparently conflicted with both domestic and international legal standards. This raises serious concerns about the deal's legitimacy and enforceability. It could potentially expose Burkina Faso to legal challenges or compromise its ability to regulate the project effectively. Compliance with legal standards is crucial for ensuring transparency, fairness, and proper governance in major infrastructure projects. But here's the million-dollar question. What are the immediate implications of this cancellation? Firstly, it throws the future of the airport deal into uncertainty. It also marks a significant shift in Burkina Faso's approach to international relations, particularly with France. Now, let's analyze this cancellation. Economically, this decision is a double-edged sword for Burkina Faso. On one hand, it risks delaying the much-needed airport project, potentially hampering economic development. On the other, it opens up opportunities for local businesses and could lead to more favorable terms in future deals. However, President Traore managed to ensure new funding, ensuring that the project is completed as scheduled. Although there were initial delays due to the cancellation of a contract with a French company, the project has since progressed without significant additional delays. The new contract was awarded to a consortium comprising Sogea Satam and Mohammed Abdul Mohsen Al Kharafi and Sons Company, ensuring that the project remains on track for its revised completion date. And as for the funding, the project is now financed by various international organizations, including the Islamic Development Bank, the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, the Kuwaiti Fund for Arab Economic Development, the OPEC Fund for International Development, the Saudi Fund for Development, and the government of Burkina Faso. You could see that President Traore really meant business for switching this project to the advantage of Burkina Faso. In terms of French-Burkinabe relations, this move is nothing short of seismic. It's the latest in a series of actions distancing Burkina Faso from its former colonial power, following the trend we've seen in other Sahel nations. So far, Burkina Faso has taken a series of decisive actions to distance itself from its former colonial power, France. These include the formation of the Alliance of Sahel States with Mali and Niger, effectively ending French military operations in the country. Their support for Niger's coup leaders led to France suspending development and budgetary aid, prompting Burkina Faso to retaliate by denouncing the double taxation treaty with France. Simultaneously, Burkina Faso has been forging new alliances, notably strengthening ties with Russia, as evidenced by increased Russian military presence and diplomatic visits to Moscow. Under Captain Ibrahim Traore's leadership, a growing sovereignty discourse has fueled anti-French sentiment. The country's decision to withdraw from ECOWAS alongside Mali and Niger, signals a broader shift away from traditional regional and international partnerships influenced by France. These actions collectively represent a significant realignment of Burkina Faso's foreign policy, moving away from its historical ties with France and seeking new partnerships to assert its independence and pursue its national interests in the complex geopolitical landscape of West Africa. But here's a thought-provoking question. Could local control over the project actually benefit Burkina Faso in the long run? Some experts argue that this decision could lead to better alignment with national interests, increased capacity building for local airport management, a stronger negotiating position for future international partnerships. As this business news continues to unfold, one thing is clear. The landscape of West African politics and economics is shifting dramatically. But is this a scandal exposed or a bold step towards true independence? Stay tuned as we continue to unravel this complex story of power, politics, and progress in the heart of Africa. Let's delve into the broader anti-neo-colonial context shaping this political drama. Burkina Faso's decision mirrors similar moves in other Sahel countries. Mali, for instance, has also distanced itself from French influence, terminating several military agreements. Niger, too, has shown signs of reducing its dependence on France. But what's driving this trend? Statistics paint a compelling picture. French military presence in the Sahel has decreased by 40% since 2020, while trade between France and Sahel countries has dropped by 25% in the last 5 years. Public approval of French involvement in Sahel affairs has plummeted to a mere 20% in recent polls. These numbers reflect a growing sentiment against French influence in the region. But as one door closes, another opens. New partnerships are emerging, with countries like Russia, China, and Turkey showing increased interest in the region. Now let's turn our attention to the future of the airport project. What's next for this crucial piece of Burkina Faso's economic development? Several scenarios are possible. With new funding partnership in place, experts estimate that a fully operational Ouagadougou International Airport could boost Burkina Faso's GDP by up to 2% annually and create over 5,000 jobs. But how is the international community reacting to this bold move in corporate affairs? Neighboring countries are watching closely, with some expressing support for Burkina Faso's assertion of sovereignty. The French government and business community, unsurprisingly, have voiced concern over the cancellation of the airport deal. Meanwhile, international financial institutions are reassessing their approach to government contracts in the region. The World Bank, for instance, has announced a review of its infrastructure funding policies in West Africa. However, Burkina Faso's action reflect the general trend among the Sahel state that want to wean themselves of French hegemony. Niger's recent decision to terminate the uranium mining contract with French company Orano marks a significant step in its efforts to reduce dependence on former colonial powers and assert greater sovereignty over its resources. The uranium sector has long been dominated by French interests, reflecting a historical legacy of economic ties that some critics view as neo-colonialism. By ending this contract, Niger aims to reclaim control over a crucial aspect of its economy, which has been pivotal for both domestic energy needs and international trade. This move underscores Niger's determination to diversify its economic partnerships and seek fairer terms that benefit its own development goals. Politically, the decision signifies Niger's desire to assert its autonomy and strengthen its position in regional and global affairs. It reflects broader shifts in African nations' policies towards reducing reliance on former colonial powers, promoting self-determination, and fostering more balanced international relationships. Moreover, the termination of the Orano contract aligns with Niger's broader strategy to prioritize sustainable development, environmental protection, and local community interests in resource extraction. This step not only addresses economic concerns, but also reaffirms Niger's commitment to transparent governance and equitable resource management. The cancellation of the Ouagadougou International Airport deal is more than just business news. It's a watershed moment in African politics. It showcases President Ibrahim Traore's bold move to reclaim authority over a key economic asset. This decision could pave the way for more favorable deals, potentially boosting economic development, as it sends a powerful message about self-determination in international relations. As we conclude this economic development, let's recap the key points. The airport deal cancellation marks a significant shift in Burkina Faso's approach to international business. It represents a bold step towards economic sovereignty. The decision aligns with a broader trend of anti-neocolonialism in the Sahel region. What does the future hold for Burkina Faso and West Africa? Will this move inspire similar actions across the continent? Only time will tell. So, do you support the action of President Traore? Please let us know in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and letting me break down these complex geopolitical topics. Let me know what you think about the issues down in the comments below. Looking forward to that discussion. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in our next video.